Hello, and welcome to the C3 Method podcast with your host, Robert Polenic. Our goal is to educate you on everything health and fitness related with a clear, concise, and customized approach. We want you to know what you need to know and how to apply it in a way that fits you best. Today's podcast number 2266, and the title is Pre, Intra, and Post-Workout Nutrition. What I want to do today is cover those three timing concerns: pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout. And we're going to cover them in a way in which it's kind of an odd way of phrasing this, is what questions would I ask myself in each of those moments to determine what I need? There you go. So let's actually go through this. Pre-workout, the question I would ask myself is, am I properly fueled for the workout? And we'll go through and answer that in a second. Intra-workout. The question I would ask myself is, do I have any unmet energy or hydration needs in order to sustain my desired performance? So do I need more energy, or do I need more hydration, or am I okay? Post-workout, what does my body need to make the adaptations I want? These are, in a sense, the questions I'm going to ask myself in each of these times, and that'll help me determine if I should have something, and then what should I have. So for example, pre-workout, am I properly fueled for the workout? We know that through research and experiential data that working out in a fasted state is not optimal. Can you do it? Absolutely. Have people done it in the past in order to maximize fat loss? Sure. Is it determined to be the best approach long term for any goal? No. If you want to get stronger, fasted workouts aren't going to help. If you want to get bigger muscles, fasted workouts aren't going to help. If you want to be more explosive or have better athletic performance, fasted workouts are not going to help. If you want to lose body fat, fasted workouts are not going to help. Especially in that situation. When we think of fasted workouts, the idea in which people used that was they would say, oh, wow, I'm going to work out without any fuel in my system, so my body has to pull from reserves, aka stored body fat, to fuel this workout, and then that'll help me lose body fat. Well, our workouts don't actually create a high caloric deficit. An intense workout can maybe only equate for 300, 400, maybe 500 calories. Very rarely is anybody exercising in a way that burns more than 500 calories per workout. Whenever we think about a deficit in order to promote fat loss, if we want to lose a pound of fat, we would have to not eat and or burn off, use up in some combination, 3,500 calories. So if I were to eat my normal food and just work out in a deficit, meaning the only thing I'm using for fat loss is a fasted workout, and I trained my butt off and did super intense 500 calorie workouts, I would have to do that every day of the week to lose just 1 pound of fat. That is very inefficient. Whereas if I just ate 500 to 1,000 calories less per day, that's going to help me lose body fat faster, and it's going to cause a lot less body stress. I'm going to have less muscle tissue stress, connective tissue stress, cortisol stress, CNS stress and fatigue. What tends to happen when we exercise in a fasted state is we're using the system of our body, the machine of our body. We're using it without any support, so the machine takes a ton of damage. But then if we're also not eating properly to repair and fix that damage, because we're in a calorie deficit to promote fat loss, we're accruing more and more unrecovered damage every single day. And then all of a sudden we get high cortisol stress, sleep problems, joint pain, muscle tightness, low mood, low energy. Everything goes to shit, basically. When we think about using our workouts to promote fat loss, doing them in a fasted state is not the best approach. You should use your workouts to promote this adaptation changes you want that workouts can provide optimally, which is improved strength, improved muscle demand. So the more your body has to allocate calories to repairing muscle tissue, that's great. So the more muscle tissue stress that you produce in your training, the more the body has to allocate calories to address that. So that actually increases our caloric demand. We also can improve natural hormones. We tend to have better production of growth hormone, natural testosterone, and a better testosterone estrogen balance. Better thyroid overall in general for the most case when we're properly fueled and we exercise. So really, we shouldn't under consume calories pre-workout and using our workouts as a way to create a calorie deficit. We want to fuel the workout properly. You don't need to overly fuel it, but there is at least a proper fueling of it. And then as long as we control our nutrition, maybe we increase our step count, our activity level outside of the workouts, we can create a healthier, sustainable deficit that promotes a greater amount of fat loss over time in a healthier state without all the negative complications. So regardless of your goal, even if it is fat loss, pre-workout we want to ask ourselves, am I properly fueled for the workout? Now this would mean, what do I need for the workout fuel-wise? If it's a really low intensity, long duration workout, like 90 minutes plus, and it's like a low intensity, kind of moderate duration bike ride or run or whatever other event that people might be doing that's like a cardiovascular type endurance event, maybe hiking, maybe you're going trail hiking in the woods, then you can use a mixture of fats and carbs. And the reason why is fats take a while to digest. They're pretty slow digesting. So the energy available from them is a slow release. You're not going to get that for a little while. And when you do get it, it's a slow release of energy. If we have anything that's high intensity and shorter duration, say under 90 minutes, and very high intensity, carbohydrates are going to be your best bet because they digest quickly, they're available quickly, our body then burns them off quickly, so then you don't have to worry about there being an excess later on. So carbs are actually really good fuel source. They will not make you fat. What makes you fat is if we overconsume our calories over the period of time, like of a day and over a course of a week. If you just have carbs for breakfast and then you go do a workout, you will not get fat. You're going to use that. So if I put half a tank of gas in my car and then I drive the full distance until my car is empty, then I don't have any excess, right? So we want to put fuel into our body, use that fuel, and then at the end of the workout have basically nothing left, and that would be ideal for fat loss. It's not that we start the workout with an empty tank. I want to just fuel myself enough of what I need and then burn that off throughout the workout. That maximizes my performance, that maximizes the adaptations I want in the other areas, such as strength, muscle, cardiovascular endurance, hormonal benefits, and all those other things. So pre-workout, we want to focus on fats and or carbs, and for most people listening, it's going to be carbs. So you want to have the right amount of carbs. Now, how much carbs? It's really individual dependent, and it depends on the type of workout you do, the type of intensity you have. What I typically have people start with is 200 to 300 calories before their workout, see how you feel, and then we move it up or down from there. But that gives you the ballpark. Now, do you need protein before your workout? Wouldn't hurt. We want to have a protein source that digests about as quickly as we would want based on the timing. So if I'm going to have this pre-workout fuel and then immediately go into my workout, say in 15 minutes or 20 minutes or less, then I probably want to do protein powder because it's a faster digesting. Whereas if I have maybe between 20 to 60 minutes, I can do a moderate digesting protein, which could be like egg whites, maybe even like a white fish. It could be Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, faster-ish, moderate-ish protein. And then slower digesting protein sources would be like whole eggs because the fats get in there and they slow things down. Chicken breast, which can be 2 or 3 hours to digest. Like very lean red meats can take somewhere between 2 to 6 hours, sometimes even longer depending on the fattiness content. There are different digestion rates for protein sources. So you can do a quick ChatGPT or Google search for that. And it would let you know, okay, if I typically eat 60 to 90 minutes before my workouts, what foods digest in 60 to 90 minutes. So you type in food like proteins that digest in 60 to 90 minutes or carbs that digest in 60 to 90 minutes. Type that in, gives you some good ideas, go from there. So pre-workout, you want to say, am I fueled for this workout? If you haven't eaten in the last couple hours, probably not properly fueled, so you do want to have something pre-workout. Whether that's a whole food meal 90 to 120 minutes before the workout, fine, as long as the digestion rates match that time frame. Or if it's something really quick and easy, 15 to 20 minutes before the workout or right when you're starting to work out, totally fine. Our intra-workout question is, do I have unmet energy or hydration needs in order to sustain my performance? So for example, if I start the workout within 30 minutes, I feel kind of crappy energy and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel awful. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish this. Then I want to have something intra-workout to boost my energy, but more so, I probably want to improve or increase the amount I had pre-workout. Now, if pre-workout you have volume concerns, like, oh my gosh, I can't eat that much pre-workout, well then using an intra-workout is great. You just divide some of the calories between the pre and the intra, and then you're good to go. Intra-workout definitely should be carbohydrates, no doubt. And do you need protein intra-workout? Not really. If you do have it, great. If you can't stomach that or you don't want to include it, totally fine. If you do have it, then BCAAs and or whey isolate powder is going to be the best source. And then post-workout, the question we have is, what does the body need to make the adaptations I want? Do I need protein post-workout? Abso-freaking-lutely yes. That is the most important thing you need. Then people will say, well, do you need carbohydrates to help shuttle the protein in faster? Yes and no. I did my master's, my whole thesis in my master's in nutrition was on post-workout timing. Literally the anabolic window. I spent an entire semester researching all of that, writing a big ass piece of my paper, 50-page paper about that. So I know way more than I need to, and especially considering what the outcome was kind of disappointing, but also like relieving, is as long as you get some protein in post-workout, you're pretty good. Do you need the quick carbs? If you're not worried, like if you can control the amount, then yes, it is good, it is helpful, but is it necessary? Not really. You're going to grow fine, you're going to recover fine if you just have some protein after your workout. Typically, the sooner after the workout, the better. So if you can have a protein shake within, say, 20 minutes, awesome, or a whole food protein source within 20 minutes, great. If you take over an hour to get something in, that's not ideal. You're going to get less of an adaptation response immediately post-workout, and it's going to take a little bit longer for you to recover to see the fruition of what you want, but it's a small nuance. In general, post-workout, we want to have protein, yes. And then if I'm still going to be up and active and doing things, having some carbohydrates is great. If my post-workout also happens to be the last meal of the day right before I go to bed, I want to have some protein right after the workout, fast, quick digesting protein. And then before I go to bed, I can have a slower digesting protein source with some fats. So that way it slowly releases throughout the night and my body gets a slow release of protein throughout the night. If I'm doing that post-workout midday or in the morning, then I can pair it with carbohydrates and know that I'm now giving the carbohydrates for the rest of the activity I'm going to do throughout the day. But those are the basic questions we ask ourselves when we go through pre, intra, and post-workout. Pre-workout, am I properly fueled for the workout? You're probably going to want to lean into carbohydrates and fast-digesting proteins, depending on how far ahead of the workout you get to eat. Intra-workout, do I have unmet energy and or hydration needs in order to sustain desired performance? Does it hurt to have anything intra-workout if you didn't really need it? Probably not. Like something liquid is going to help you stay hydrated. A little bit of energy if you think you need it. You'll then know if you get to the end of the workout and you're like, oh, I had plenty of energy. Maybe I didn't need as many carbs. Then just eat a little bit less the next time. See how you feel. Post-workout, what does the body need to make the adjustments I want? Protein? Absolutely. Protein immediately, and then maybe an hour later, protein and fats if it's the last meal of the day. However, if you're eating the post-workout meal in the middle of the day or the beginning of the day, you can pair the protein with carbs, and that helps shuttle the protein in faster and provide some energy for the rest of the day. So it can be that simple. This is what I would consider simple. It could be that simple, or it could be super duper complex. I just don't think it needs to be complex. And for most people, the complexities don't then match what they need to balance for the rest of their life. Meaning, if I'm getting up in the morning and I have to start working out in 15 minutes, and I do my workout, and then I have the whole rest of the day I have to go to work, then you need to factor in work demands, schedule demands, along with what you do or don't eat. So there is a balance across your life in regards to multiple focal points throughout the day. So again, pre-workout, I would focus on carbs, add in some quick digesting protein, especially if you're waking up in the morning and you've been fasted before the workout for, say, at least 3 hours or more. I would throw in some fast digesting protein with the carbs. Intra-workout, a little bit of carbs if you need to energy boost. Hydration is never going to hurt, so make sure you get some fluids in. And then post-workout, protein, absolutely. Immediately after the workout as quick as you can. And then if it's the end of the day, About an hour later, have some protein and fat, so that way your body has some protein source throughout the night. If it's the middle of the day, you can have protein and carbs, and that helps fuel the energy throughout the day. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it simplified a little bit, made a little bit less of a concern about the nuances and details, so you can just focus on these bigger picture things, feel a little bit of freedom to kind of eat a little bit based on what your needs are and how you feel. Everything doesn't have to be as crazy precise as people think it has to be. Okay, so that's everything. If you have any questions, if you need anything, we do have our one-on-one coaching service you can learn more about on our website, which is www.c3method.com, and the 3 is spelled out T-H-R-E-E, so c3method.com. You can learn about our one-on-one services, and then we also have our Patreon service, which is a lower cost. It's $25 a month. You get unlimited Q&A. I make weekly videos. You'll hear about that on the podcast. You'll notice that's our Friday episodes. And then you also get nutrition education and monthly training programs as a part of that service as well. So you can check that out on patreon.com/C3Method. And then if you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people share it with, the more people can help. If you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name C3 Method. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.